The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Scottsdale, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36874. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation. Let's start first on the front bumper area. Incorporated in the front bumper, you'll find your air horns on the passenger and driver side. Located just up from that location, you'll find your siren and also electronic siren PA speaker. As we move up onto the bumper extension, you'll find 2 D handles, which will gain you access into the front bumper storage hose location. Moving up onto the side of the apparatus, you'll find emergency warning side-facing lights. Just up from that location, you'll find a marker turn indicator. Just inside that location, you'll find a cluster housing your high beam and low beam headlights. The high beam is located on the inside. Just up from that, 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights on the passenger and driver side. Directly behind the Pierce logo is the release latch for gaining access into the hood area. Moving up to the single one-piece windshield, there are 3 windshield wipers. Moving out to the outer edge, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror, in addition with a downward-facing convex mirror. On the brow of the apparatus, you'll find your ID clearance lights embedded in the forward-facing floodlight. Moving up onto the roof of the apparatus, you'll find an emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the center is where you'll find your Opticom. On the outer edges of the passenger and driver side is where you'll find your controlled within the cab area floodlights and spotlight. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items that we just talked about. First, the side of the bumper extension. Identifier for front bumper, rear, and front. They are also foam capable. Dry deck material at the very base. A warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from that area, there is the possibility of entanglement. This is the Pierce logo where the latch is located. Let's take a look into the hood area. On the passenger side is where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving over to the driver's side, you'll find the recovery coolant area. Also, there are instructions for raise and lower the cab on the rear cab wall. As we move just to the right, this is going to be the remote for the cab lift. Directly behind that, difficult to see in this image, is your lock release button for your doors. Also, you'll find a protected switch. This is for the cab raise or lower position. And all the way to the far right, you'll find your power steering fluid check location. General view here of the side of the vehicle from the driver's perspective. Let's take a look at the cab area, starting first with your front axle. You'll see a visual sight indicator, Alcoa wheel, and Goodyear tires. As we move toward the front, side-facing emergency warning lights. Let's move up onto the cab where you'll find the doors housing a door handle, which is easily accessible with a gloved hand, and it also has a keyed lock. Also right next to it, you'll find grab handles for gaining entry and exit out of the cab. Directly over the front tire axle area is where you'll find your auto eject shoreline power. It also will activate the shoreline indicator when plugged in. To the rear cab wall, side-facing emergency warning light. As we move up to the very top section, a side-facing recessed scene light. And then to the rear cab wall is where you'll find your LED water tank level indicator. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items we just talked about. First, starting with the auto charge, auto eject. Moving now to the front axle, Alcoa wheel, Goodyear tire. These are the steps. When the door has been activated, the step will deploy. And then moving to the pump panel area, let's go ahead and cover some of the items within the body and pump panel area next. First, let's start at the body section in front. In the lower section is where you'll find all your air tank manual drains. You'll also find to the rear of the axle your folding wheel chock storage location. Just in front of the axle on the body is where you'll find a side-facing marker turn indicator light. And just up from that location, we have a pan door here that houses your SCBA bottle storage location. Directly over the axle emergency warning light side facing. Just to the rear of the axle, you'll find your fuel door, which houses your ultra low sulfur diesel and also the DEF fill location. Moving up to the top of the body, you'll find emergency warning lights side facing, and then also 2 recessed side facing scene lights. Let's take a look at the close-up of the manual air drain. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus. First, let's start with the rubber arm tally light at the very far right-hand side and also on the left side. Just up from that location, you'll find your brake, turn, and reverse light. Moving up from that location, you'll find 3 emergency lights on the passenger and 3 on the driver's side. Moving now to the center, you'll find your traffic advisor. Just up from the traffic advisor, you'll find your backup camera. Moving further up from that location, you'll find a few items at the very top. First, let's start at the top with a rear-facing floodlight. As we move down, we have 2 drop-down steps located here that will fold downward. Just up from that location is your rear inlet. You'll also find D-handle gains you access into the rear pan door. This is where your 24-foot and 14-foot ladder is located. And then just up from that location, you'll find the 2 rear discharges, 2.5, and then additional long-handled tool storage located in the upper right and left side of the vehicle. We'll take a look at the top section where you'll find your hose bed. You'll also find 3 hose bed dividers which are movable. Moving around now to the passenger side of the vehicle, same configuration and layout as we have on the driver's side. We'll go ahead and move to the pump panel next. We'll cover that in just a few moments. Focus in on the body section, same configuration and layout. And then we'll move into the all compartment doors are open, full view of the driver's side, rear section, and then we'll move around to the passenger side. From here, let's move back over to the driver's side. Let's go ahead and move inside the cab area. When the door is in the open position, the steps will deploy. And then let's go ahead and move now up to the door panel itself, where we'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information. Also, when the door is open, you'll find a side flashing indicator light. As we move up to the door lock and latch combination, and then just up from this location, you'll find window controls for all 4 windows and a grab handle. Let's go ahead and take a just quick look inside the cab area. We'll start first with the yellow placard. This is manufactured for your department, indicating the date of manufacture and also 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and then all of the fluid capacities for each component and fluid capacity and fluid type. About the left knee of the operator is where you'll find your engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, and tech module. You'll also find some switches down below for ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit. As we move to the steering wheel, you'll find your vehicle is equipped with an airbag. This is your supplemental restraint system. And then also on the outside of the perimeter here, you'll find all your controls for electronic siren, air horn, and also emergency warning lights. As we move to the dash, you'll find your 4-way flashers or hazard light start ignition, switch labeled EM, which stands for emergency master, that will engage or disengage all emergency lights. Headlight switch and also panel switch, allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator's dash. To the right, the high idle indicator and OK to engage switch. As we move up to the cluster, you'll find your transmission, oil, def level, and water temp on the left side of the cluster. On the right, front air, rear air, fuel, and volts. Located in the center is the tachometer and speedometer. You'll have diagnostic information displayed above and below the speedometer, in addition with tally information for your tally lights. Let's move just to the right of the operator on a quick view here. And we'll start first with the yellow diamond. This is your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. We do have a protected shield around it. As we move further to the right, you'll find your display for your backup camera system. Moving to the right, we do have your engine brake on and off switch, settings for low, medium, and high, mirror heat, indicator for stationary OK to pump and roll, water pump, and also foam system. Just to the left of this was the Allison transmission pad, digital readout, push button. Moving down from this location, you'll find a digital readout for pump pressure. You'll also find just to the right in the blue section, this is your water tank level indicator, and then also you have an in-cab foam tank level indicator. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find mirror controls for the right and left mirrors. Down from this location, this is the driver's side go light, which is the control module over the emergency warning light bar. Traffic advisor left and right. As we move further to the front section, you'll find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Over the operator's head, you'll find this yellow placard on the A-pillar. Let's start first with the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 10 inches. The length of the vehicle, 32 feet 1 inch. Gross vehicle weight rating, 46,500 pounds. We do have the 5-digit job number. This happens to be -03, indicating the third vehicle in the manufacturing lineup. To the right, you'll find your emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Moving further to the right, high beam flash, opticom, electronic siren, perimeter lights, load manager, and siren brake for your mechanical siren. To the right, you'll find your driver's side scene, front scene, passenger side scene, rear scene, and also an indicator cab is not locked. Further to the right, you'll find your siren module and also PA speaker system. In the very center at the roof line, do not move your apparatus if this light is on, indicating a compartment or door ajar. Also, seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green if they're in the seat and belted. Directly behind the driver's seat, you'll find the manual tilt handle for your cab tilt. You'll also find your battery charger when plugged into Shoreline power. This will become active. And you'll also see negative and positive. This is a 12-volt bus bar. Let's move to the rear section of the cab area where you'll first, when the door is open, steps will deploy. You also have all of our safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window control, and grab handles. As we move just inside the cab, you'll find 2 forward-facing seats. On the outer edge, you'll find EMS compartments. You also have 2 rear-facing seats. General view once again inside the cab area. LED lighting inside the compartment, and also you'll find that placard on the top. While in operation, you should have the doors closed. As we move to the rear of the engine tunnel, you'll find lift and turn latch gains you access to the rear portion of the engine for your daily checks for oil and transmission. Also, direct behind the officer seat, you'll find an additional storage location. This is for your unit radio, and then also just above that, you'll find your EQ2B control module. That's the red module on the vertical surface. Let's go ahead and move now to the pump section area. We'll start at the very top section of the crosslays. As we move into the crosslays at the very top section, you'll find your dead lay. Right next to that, you'll find backboard storage just to the rear portion. At the very bottom, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2, also a warning regarding entanglement. Because those lines coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. Let's start with the pump panel here on the driver's side. First, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner with your air inlet, air supply, and air outlet. You'll also find a warning placard here regarding do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. This is your strainer and then also your auxiliary foam function. At the very top section, you'll find a warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening those caps. At the very top, just below the Pierce logo, is where you're going to find your large diameter inlet. Because it's an electric valve inlet, we do have an override, and that is the override location for opening and closing. As we move down, you'll find the number 1 left side discharge, 2.5-inch locally controlled ball valve. Additionally, at the very top, a warning regarding fall hazard. Always face the vehicle while climbing on and off. Down at the very bottom left, you'll find a number 2 left side discharge, locally controlled ball valve, 2.5-inch. Also, the number 1 left side auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch female locally controlled ball valve. At the very bottom, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. A couple close-ups of those drains here now. And then we're going to go ahead and move into the compartment where we'll start at the very top section about some of the pump panel options here. First, at the very top, we have an OK to pump. This light will be illuminating if you've completed the proper engagement inside the cab. Also, your minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll go over that in just a moment. Warning regarding only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after they've received proper training. Just to the right, you have your green foam A module indicator for level of foam in the tank. And in the gray area, you'll find your master intake gauge. Just to the right of that location, the master discharge gauge. In between the two of those gauges are the test gauge ports for vacuum and also pressure. They are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. In the right side, you'll find the pump fault, PCM fault. You have an indicator visually and then also an audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate, allowing you to dampen the sound. Let's go back to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. On the left is the associated GPM at that test pressure, and on the right, the associated RPM at test pressure. We also have a governed speed of 2,130 RPMs, that's while in pump mode, and also the 5-digit job number located at the top. As we move to the downward section on the pump panel, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharges, red indicating that they are foam capable. We do have some electric valves. First, we have the driver main inlet and also passenger main inlet. At the very rear, we have an electric valve for the rear inlet, and then to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. Incorporated in this device is where you'll find your water tank level indicator. Let's go ahead and move to the vertical sidewall where you'll find the master stream control module, also the extender for raising the master stream above the level of the cab or dunnage area. Then as we move to the lower portion, you'll find additional lights and also an air horn. Moving just to the right on the pump panel, you'll find your fire pump primer, push to prime, air prime. This is 1,000 RPMs for best practices. Your vehicle is equipped with a foam system. It's the Husky 12. There are specifications and also instructions placard. This is going to be the driver rear. This is a discharge. It is also foam capable. And then to the right, the Husky 12 control module. Moving to the right, this is the passenger side large diameter discharge, green in color. And then as we move down, we also have a 2.5-inch passenger side discharge. This is foam capable. As we move further down, you'll find your deck gun control module. And as we move all the way back to the left-hand side, you're going to find your tank fill recirculating line and also tank to pump. Just to the right, this is your reel discharge. Let's move down to the very bottom where we have some drains that are color-coded and labeled. What I'd like to focus on is the pan door on the right-hand side. This is your foam lever for operation and also for fill. Please see the instructions on the left-hand side of the door. Also in this compartment is your manual pump shift override. It is a protected switch and the door will remain open if you've engaged this. As we move to the opposite vertical side sheet, you'll find an additional remote. This is for your master stream device. Let's go ahead and move to the next compartments. When you find those pull-out trays, the release mechanisms are located on the right-hand side. We're directly over the rear axle where we have 2 SCBA bottle storage location and also a pull-out and tilt downward shelf, LED lighting inside the compartment, and dry deck material on the base of the floor and also in the shelves. We do have retaining straps and also a divider inside for your SCBAs. And also, when we look to the wheel, we have Alcoa wheel and Goodyear tire. As we move up from this location, this is the fuel door. The silver cap is the ultra low sulfur diesel. As we move that further down and move the flap downward, it exposes the blue cap, which is your DEF fill location, 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. Let's move toward the rear of the compartment where you'll find a tool board that does pull outward for tool mounting and also a pull-out tray on the lower portion. That tray will lock into position, release located on the right-hand side. Let's go ahead and move around to the rear of the apparatus. We do have a ladder for gaining access to the top section. There is a pinch warning located on that ladder. Long-handled tool storage at the very top section where the ladder side is located. That's the driver's side. In the very center, we have a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because those lines coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. We also have a warning label here indicating fall hazard. Always face the vehicle while climbing on and off. Just below that, a warning, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And then just to the right, a warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move through some of the details here, we have a space saver tailboard. This drops down. You can also stand on this. It does have additional storage in the back. In the upper right-hand corner, long-handled tool storage, and then also our 10-foot folding attic ladder. Two 2.5-inch discharge, driver's side and passenger side. Both of these are foam capable. As we move toward the safety points here, once again, pressure hazard warning, 24-foot and 14-foot extension ladder just behind the pan door. As we move from this location, on the left-hand side, you'll find the rear scene lights. This is an activation switch. Then as we move to the right, you'll find your rear inlet. Let's go ahead and move around now to the passenger side. You can see where that rear inlet comes into the body area, adjustable tray down at the bottom that pulls outward, and then also a 12-volt DC access located in the upper corner. This is the pull-out tray. Once again, remember that that does lock into position. As we move through the next compartment, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for up to 4 bottles and also an oxygen storage location for the very top upper left corner. Those SCBA bottles do have retaining straps for additional safety. Once again, Goodyear tire and Alcoa wheel. As we move just up from this location, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles and also that marker turn indicator light. As we move to the forward compartment, adjustable shelving and also a pull-out tray in the lower portion. In the very top section, we have 2 12-volt DC outlets located here. This is the barrel style. Let's go ahead and move forward from this location. At the very top, same configuration and layout as we have on the driver as we have on the passenger side. At the very top, you've got your backboard storage location, and then also at the very top right is a dead lay. As we move to the very bottom, cross lay 1 and cross lay 2, warning placard regarding entanglement hazard. Let's move to the pump panel area. We'll start first in the upper left-hand corner with the strainer. And then as we move just to the right of this location, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary inlet. This is an electric valve that controls open and close. So we're required to have a override, and that's at the very top section is where your override is located. You'll also find a rewind switch located here. And as we move down, we do have some warning placards. Once again, fall, always face the vehicle while climbing on and off. And as we move to the right, you're going to find additional warning regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. You'll also find your large diameter discharge. This is an electric valve on the passenger side, so we do have an override located in the lower section here of the cutout. In the very bottom section, color coded and labeled discharge drains. We'll go ahead and move inside the cab in the rear side on the passenger side. Once again, affixed to that door panel, safety and warning placard information. Once again, when the latch is released, the step will deploy. Electric windows, door lock and latch, and grab handle. As we look inside the cab area, you'll find your air conditioning unit in the center, additional compartments on the right and left side behind the driver and passenger. Also push on and off white and red lens lights that you can activate from the rear section. You'll also find your SETCOM headset system located in the rear section. We'll go ahead and go back exterior, front axle, visual sight gauge indicator, Goodyear tire, and Alcoa wheel. As we move inside now to the passenger side or officer space, let's just move inside where you'll find affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. Once again, when the door has been accessed, the step will deploy.
door lock and latch, electric window control, grab handle, and also a blinking LED light indicating for traffic. Your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system located in the very top section and a warning placard here indicating for mounting of equipment. You do have a glove box just above that location. As we move just to the left, you'll see all of the components to the left of the officer seat. Let's focus in on a few of those. We'll start first with your Go light. This is the control module for your spotlight, switch for activation, and also a joystick for activation or for movement. An air horn push button on the same module area. In the very front area, we have this cutout location for additional storage. As we move toward the rear, we do have an additional brake here and also 12-volt access via barrel style. Unit radio. Let's go ahead and look overhead of the officer seat. Push on and off white and red lens lights, air conditioning unit, and your SETCOM system. As we move to the left, you'll find your speedometer. This is a digital readout on the officer side. You'll also find an AM/FM weather band radio located in the center area. Moving to the left, you'll find your siren control module and PA speaker system. Let's go ahead and just a general view of the roof section area from the officer's perspective. We'll go ahead and move now to the cab roof area where you'll find these warning placards indicating on the cab roof that this is a non-walking surface and also a slip hazard. As we spin around to the dunnage area, we'll identify a few items within this area. Let's first start with the red or booster line. On the very top section, you'll find an insert location for a tool for rewind, and then also a knob for free tension spool. Moving just to the right, you'll find your master stream device, remember remote controlled, and then also it will raise and lower from the pump panel. This is your exhaust. Extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious when operating in this area. Hydraulic oil, this is for your foam hydraulic oil reservoir for your Husky 12. You'll also find top fill water and top fill foam. When we take a look at the foam itself, there is a warning placard indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. At the very top section, you'll identify the yellow diamond. That is a designed walking surface. You'll also find hatch compartments with LED lighting and also dry deck material inside those hatch compartments. Hose bed area with 3 hose bed dividers. The next several images are going to be that of the chassis and engine pump area and underbody area. First, I'd like to point out the front of the vehicle. This is your towing attachment points. As we move through the next set of images, I'd like to remind everyone when you have fully engaged the cab tilt and it is both equal pressure on right and left cylinder of the cab, install the warning bar. Do not lower the cab onto the warning bar. This is your TAC 4 front suspension. Your vehicle is equipped with a Cummins X12 engine. As we look to the battery area, you'll find at the very lower section your termination points here or jumper studs for positive and negative. This will complete the additional photos of the chassis, engine, and undersection. We do have a short video with your emergency warning lights activated. Congratulations, Scottsdale, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36874. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.